Hello, Watem here, welcome back to small Umineko When They Cry. Let's continue. Jessica's fists slammed into the door in slow motion. Specifically in slow motion. It's like the decisive scene in a movie was being acted out. However, this is no act. Jessica's fists really were slowing down as though they were being sucked in, like a spoon sinks through a jar of honey. That punch was no longer a punch. It was no more than a knock.
嫉妬するのよ、あなたに。嫉妬。私は恋に対する甘えと傲慢から18年嫉妬の地獄を張ったわ。だからあなたが妬ましいの。あなたは私の忠告を受けて恋を成就させて美しい人生を歩むでしょうね。ああ。妬ましいわ。女の一番美しい時間をあなたは私よりも18年も長く過ごせる。ああ、妬ましい。
Jessica tried to slam her fist against the door over and over again. However, as soon as her fist approached it, speed plummeted. She could barely knock, much less smash the door. What if she tried to knock instead of smashing the door? Then what happens?
速度不瞬発不音速不無駄よ、お嬢ちゃん。砕けろ。
With full speed upgrades, Jessica's fist moved with the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers per hour. However, how long had Jessica been in envy to gain that speed? It started to envy George and Shannon's relationship about 2 years ago. 3 times 365 equals 730 days. 730 times 24 equals 17,520 hours. Sure. I'm not going to try to actually check that. However, she wasn't envious all the time. Yeah. She probably wasn't envious while she slept. It only happened when Shannon started going on about George. Shannon's shift on about 3 days of a week. Divided by 7 times 3. And it wasn't as though she would go on about George all day long. Their fond words for him would only leave a mark on Jessica for about an hour, right? It's only 1/24th of each day. 17,520 divided by 7 times 3 divided by 24 equals 312, removing the fractional part. The number of hours that Kirie had been jealous was 157,680. In other words, this doesn't even 0.2% of the time Kyrie had been jealous. Even 1,225 kilometers per hour, the speed of sound, comes only 2.45 kilometers per hour in the 1/500th world. What about 343 meters per second?
わかる？あなた、恋も嫉妬も足りないわ。
Even if she increased the speed of her fists, furious wailed, Jessica couldn't make it any faster than a walking child. Jessica ground her teeth, her fist still pressed against her door. How about hypersonic? That still probably isn't enough. If someone could have seen this from both sides of the door, it would have looked as though Kyrie was holding it shut with a single finger.
ねえ、この部屋は密室でしょ。ジェシカちゃんはせいぜいノックをすることはできるけど、中の私たちには指一本触れることはできない。
ベアトリーチェの密室邸ですね。
何そ
こうなるとこの密室ちと厄介ですが、密室殺人を行うのは人間には不可能。それが行えるのは魔法だけです。
Well, if you break open the door, it's no longer a closed room. So that's very easy to commit a closed room murder because it isn't a closed room. The door's practically open.
ジェシカ様が真に魔法を理解されない限り打ち破れますまい。
Only practically because the rest of the door frame's still there.
もはやジェシカちゃんに私を詰めることはできない。やがて時間は進み、私がいつまでも戻らないことに気づいた親族たちが屋敷を探し始めるの。そしてあなたは観測される。魔女も魔法も観測されたら消える。悪夢の時間はもう終わりよ、お嬢ちゃん。
おや、ジェシカがいきなり脱落なんてびっくりだよ。
どうか頑張って。愛しのカノンのためにも。
さあジェシカ、愛を信じてどうか奇跡を見せておくれ。
訂正するわ。時間の経過を待つ必要さえない。
Oh?
だってここに内線電話があるんだもん。もちろん断線なんかしてないわ。私はこの受話器を取る。これが私のチェックメイト。構築完了。
お？
密室殺人。
おや、有効ですな。
浸透付与、打撃伝達、間接攻撃力付与。
Jessica's fist, which was pressed against the door, glowed red, and then white hot. I'm assuming red hot and then white hot is what it meant. Jessica didn't even swing her fist. She just kept it pressed against the door. However, Jessica's murder extended within the closed room. Through the crack in the door, through the keyhole, burst the flames of hell. Jessica couldn't see what was happening inside the room. However, even here on the other side of the door, she could tell that the flames of hell had swallowed the entire room. Kyrie's smouldering death throes could be heard from across the door. Jessica clearly heard as Kyrie danced the dance of death amidst the hellfire, fell to her knees and slumped over to the floor. Slowly, Jessica tore her burning fist away from the door.
そんなに嫉妬の地獄が恋しいの。焼かれてる
Bennett? Oh.
嫉妬の炎で永遠に。嫉妬から学ぶものもあるだろうぜ。だがそれは誇るもんじゃねえし、義務でもねえ。やっぱりあんたおごってたぜ。キリエおばさん。
お見事な密室殺人ですな。
Wonder how she constructed it.
後片付けを頼むぜ。やがて見つかる遺体が黒焦げじゃあまりに申し訳がない。きれいにしてやってくれるか。
かしこまりました、お嬢様。
For Ronaldo transformed into a gold butterfly and entered Krause's study through the keyhole. Then he had to cross his arms and think about how he should even start cleaning up Kyrie's unrecognizable corpse, and this room that had ended up as a burning hell. No. The eyes have changed, I think. Jessica finally let out the breath that she had been holding down in her chest. Her normal human glint finally returned to her eyes. And then she couldn't help but shudder at what she'd done. Even if it had been just a trial on the game board for the sake of her love.
悪魔ども、これでいいんだろう。
お見事です、ジェシカ。あなたの愛も本物だ。
George welcomed Jessica with a crisp applause. Theodore timidly tried to join him, but Jessica yelled at her and stopped. And she stopped.
ゲーム版の上の話じゃないか。そこまで悲しむことじゃない。
理屈じゃ分かってる。でもだからって心の整理がつくわけがねえだろう。お嬢様、カノン君、私君のことが好き、諦められないよ。だから示したよ、私の気持ち。私間違ってないよね。間違ってないよね。
Truly, this is the face of love.
お嬢様。
As Jessica started to sob, Cannon held her quietly. And he realized that he would have to carry on the determination she had shown him.
何も間違ってないさ、君は。そして、人の心を残し、苦しむことも間違ってない。僕は、そういうことに対し、少し君よりストイックだっただけの話さ。
誰もがジョージ様の境地に至れるわけではありません。しかしどうあれ、お嬢様はとにもかくにも試練を成し遂げられた。お見事です。その決意の強さ、敬服します。
そういうことであるな。ジョージもジェシカも見事やり遂げたことは同じだ。
How will you grade them to see who wins?
あっぱれであったぞ、ジェシカ。
My immediate thought is then Shannon and Cannon will have to do their work. But if all of them succeed, then what?
今の密室殺人、魔女のわらわも見惚れるなかなかのものであった。
Jessica had used magic to kill Kyrie, who had holed up inside a closed room. In that instant, Jessica had constructed a closed room murder, had it acknowledged by the demons, and raised it to the level of magic.
これで二人の試練が完了だわ。
さあ、次は誰が挑戦を？
ベアトリーチェ様かしら？
いやいや、シャノンかもしれないよ。
ここはカノンの出番に違いないわ。
さあ、名乗り出てほしい。次は誰？誰が試練を？
魔女がゲーム版の殺人に臆してどうするというのか。臆ても過ぎれば恋を殺すぞ。
I'm thinking there was something that I thought between the previous recording and this one about Asumu. I can't remember what it was though. But I mean, in terms of things lining up, when Asmu died, it was the last time Battler went to the family conference. After that, he didn't go. So that would line up with the sin forgotten. What if Battler had somehow caused Asumu's death? Whether directly or indirectly. Another thought is that what if the thought which I've had just now, which I don't think is all that likely, and I haven't had much time to think of it, what if Asumu didn't die? And this Beatrice is Asumu. Then the question is, how did she get onto the island? But well, if the other entrance via other mansion does exist, we've seen it after all in her name, the feature POV. So in that case, what if she landed there? Then the question is the number of people alive on the island. Anyway. Keep going.
さあ次は
誰が恋の殺人を
Beatrice? Yep. The three who remained looked at each other. If none of the others raised their hands in the next few seconds, they would raise their own hand. All three thought this at the same time. So, they all raised their hands at the same time. The ones they loved had already shown their determination. Well, except for Beatrice's. They had to carry on. Will they all go at the same time, or will there be an order? Very large, and the clock didn't spin. Fate of those who do not fight. Rosa could be seen in the parlour. Relatives apparently all wanted to be alone after dispersing for a short break. Since everyone avoided the parlour, the one place where people would normally gather, Rosa was able to have this relaxing and comforting room all to herself. That didn't mean she looked relaxed. Her expression was heavy with gloom and weariness. Weariness, rather. The cup of black tea that she had brought from the dining hall had gone cold. A pleasant silence. Now that no one was in sight, Rosa's heart finally awoke. She was always treated like a kid in the conferences with her three siblings. She had no influence at all. Possibly because of that, she was apparently considered to be a neutral party. Siblings would often ask her, for her agreement, sometimes even treating her like a referee or a judge.
それをうまく生かして私の望むように会議を誘導しなくちゃ
Have to find almost 100 million yen by March. That was supposed to be my great commitment, a burden I bore to help support that man's business.
今はもうよくわからない借金を無事に返済できたら彼は連絡をくれるのだろうか冗談じゃない今さら連絡なんかくれてもこっちから願い下げようでもあなたはマリアの父親なのよせめて一度でいいから会ってあげて愛というのは貫くのも辛いのですね誰
Though no one should have been in the parlour, someone suddenly spoke to Rosa, and she jumped. Just when did he get there? Canon could be seen standing there, even considering that she had been deep in thought, to think that she hadn't noticed him at all.
びっくりしたわ。ごめんなさい。考え事をしてて気づかなかったみたい。
See, Canon, you wasted a perfectly good opportunity to murder her.
何？
いえ、ローザ様を今苦しめているのは愛ゆえにです。違いますか？
唐突ね。何の話かよくわからないわ。
ローザ様はマリア様の父親に借金の連帯保証人を求められ、
Now, how do you know that?
それを引き受けられました。
困った子ね。クラウス兄さんが話してたのを廊下か何かで聞いてたのね。
True. Earlier this day in this very room, Kraus had seen through to the fact that Rosa was bearing a massive debt because she had become a co-signer on a loan. However, he hadn't said that her partner had been Maria's father. Why did Canon know so much?
ローザ様はとても聡明な方です。
And she was used?
連帯保証人を引き受けることがどういう意味を持つかよく考えもせず引き受けたわけがありません。
席こそまだだったけれど、これから結婚する相手でパートナーだと思ってた。私の名前がなければ借りられないお金なら、それに協力するのが未来の妻の役目だと思ったのよ。
未来は来ましたか？
No, it hadn't. But afterwards, Rosa was always alone, and Maria never had a father. However, time moved on. Nothing changed, except that Maria, who should have been a symbol of their union, just kept growing like a living hourglass, measuring the length of the hill Rosa had crawled through. With that, Maria's growth hurt.
皮肉よね。私はあの男のことを何度も忘れようとしたわ。でもね、忘れても借金は消えないのよ。
It was only natural. That's why she had to forget her love and do all she could to pay that money back.
でもね、こうも思うの。私が立派に返済しきったら、それは彼が私に与えてくれた愛の試練に打ち勝ったという意味にもなるの。結局は返さなくちゃいけない借金なのに、どうしてその結果得られる愛を先に自ら捨てるの？返済してから考えても遅くはないと思わない？
May have been a trick of words that only those who have suffered through love could understand. Even Rosa was vaguely aware of the possibility that she'd been deceived. However, if she was able to succeed in paying back the loan, he might acknowledge her usefulness as a wife. When that happened, she might be able to regain that love. And if she abandoned that love, this debt, this trial that he had given her, would become completely meaningless. Yes, for her, the debt itself appeared to be a trial of love. Actually, the very fact that she tried to view it that way might have been the blindness of love. Proof that she was still bound by her regrets and obsessed with the past. That pain still continued within her. And at the very least, it would remain until she paid back that massive loan. And even then, it would take quite some time before she'd be able to lay her feelings for him to rest.
これがキリエ様の言う地獄なのか。
I think this is different. I'm pretty sure this is very different.
そうね。何の話かは分かりかねるけど、
私の世界が地獄で満たされてることは間違いないわ。
それはどうやったら終わらせられるのですか？
Well, I can think of one way, which you're probably going to go through, even if that's not what you're thinking of.
さあね。それが分かったら誰も恋の病に蝕まれたりはしない。
That disease is a serious one. Sometimes it eats into a person for their entire life, spreading to and hurting the people closest to them. That disease was torturing her now as much as it ever had.
キリエさんの話が出たから言うけど、
What?
彼女の話は私にとって希望、夢なの。
She did eventually get to her love. Where she had had her man stolen from her, she persevered for 18 years, never fell to despair, and instead continued to support Rudolph, keeping her head down and waiting for a miracle.
マリアはまだ9歳よ。キリエさんが待った18年のまだ半分じゃない。それくらいで値を上げてたら彼女に笑われるわ。
あと9年で奇跡が起こると思いますか？
それを疑ったらおしまいよ。ある意味私は亡霊なのよ。
That's an interesting way of describing it.
私はすでに死んでいる。それに気づかず生きている。
Well, you might soon be exactly that.
決して来ない人、永遠に待つ亡霊。
そうよ。彼の夢を応援したいなんて甘えたことを言ったあの日に、私は多分もう死んでいた。やっぱりあの日は後悔すべき日だったのかしら。俺には夢がある。海外を巡りたい。このちっぽけな日本を飛び出して必ず大物になって帰ってくる。懐かしいわね。あの頃の私は互いの途方もない夢を認め合うのが恋人同士だみたいな考えだった。だから彼も私がデザイナーとして大成してパリで新作を発表して取材陣にもみくちゃにされるなんて夢を楽しそうに語って喜ばせてくれたわ。思えば本当におかしな地に足がついてない日々だった。
Many to Paris, not the whole, what's trifecta but before? Not sure if there is that. Anyway, not just Paris, not the other three.
互いに互いを浮かれさせてふわふわし合ってる感じ。
I mean, just Paris is big enough, I guess.
だから彼が日本を飛び出したいなんて言い出した時、私はそれを喝采して応援を約束したわ。
Acknowledging each other's great dreams with nothing but words is a classic sort of pillow talk between lovers. However, when it comes to actually carrying them out, you need to be more serious and calculating.
私はあの日彼を見送ったことを長いこと誇りにしてた。今も誇りにしてる。
でも後悔もしているんですね。
そうよ。
Slightly contradictory, but when does that ever matter concerning humans?
あの日泣きわめいて反対してたら私は地獄に落ちなかったかもしれない。
Humans and emotions.
それを笑顔で見送ったのが私の勝利。違うわ。それはある意味戦うべき時を自ら放棄した不先輩みたいなものだった。 私はその負けを美化して男の海外への挑戦を笑顔で見送り、海外しく娘と帰りを待つ良き女の幻想に酔ってるだけ。電話一本よこさず彼が教えてくれた住所への郵便も転居先不明で戻ってくるのにね。ここが地獄よ。戦うべき時に戦わなかったことを死ぬまで後悔する地獄。
Well, if he was planning to scam you, I don't think begging him to stay would have changed anything.
私はその地獄に娘まで引きずり込んでいる。いっそ誰かに殺されたい。
I can arrange that for you.
お前はすでに殺された。亡霊なのだと。先行。
恋は戦わなくちゃ地獄を這う。
そう、恋は戦うもの。
勝って得るか、負けて死ぬか。
でもどうか死を恐れないで。
なぜならそれは安らかな眠りだから。真に恐ろしいのは勝てず、そして死ねもしなかった眠れぬ亡者たちの落ちる地獄。
その地獄に終わりはない。
恋の戦いは戦いもせず死ねもしなかった者に最も残酷なんだ。
恋は当たって砕けろってわけだ。そういう討ち死にはせいせいするよな。
人を最も苛む毒薬は恋を腐らせて作るという。その苦しみはどのような悪趣味な地獄の拷問をも上回る。
She used this knowledge to try and embolden her double and little sister, encouraging her to take on any trial no matter how fierce.
わかります。
After all, when my desire to have Battler Son accept me one day wells up in my chest, I can feel the seed that resides there.
その種を芽吹かせるも死なせるも自由。でもそのまま胸の中で腐らせれば、きっとその毒は私を永遠に苛む。それこそが我ら千年の魔女をしても最も恐れる世界で一番恐ろしい拷問だ。
見届けよ、恋を愛を軽んじる者たちよ。このローザの地獄こそが
恋の種を芽吹かせる勇気を持てず、腐らせたる者がたどる末路。
その苦しみは自分の手では終わらせられない。
Time heals all wounds. Just have to let it. And on that note, I think I'll be ending it there for today. Just now I was at a red light. With presumably Cannon killing Rosa. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.